It's a forward defence from Misbah, and it's pushed towards the covers. You are, of course, listening into Raw Radio calling this Pakistan versus Australia test match. Ball by ball by ball. Jeff Lemon and Andrew Lane with you in the callers' chairs. And we've got Eunice coming forward to Nathan Lyon and defending it. It just came off the inside half of the bat and ran away just behind square. No run from that delivery. So 80 for 2. We've had 25 overs thus far in Pakistan's innings. Only a few of them this morning as Lyon bowls a flatter ball. Eunice sweeps. But they've got a man in there on the sweep now. Phil Hughes at backward square leg. No run. Nathan Lyon licking his lips as he comes into the crease. Flights this one and turns it in towards Eunice's off stump. He's on the back foot, waiting for that turn, anticipating it, playing it into the ground just wide of Michael Clarke's slip on the bounce, and there was no score.
Really challenging Genghis for most effective Khan in history at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the ruthlessness has definitely been up there with Genghis levels as Smith is approaching the crease and throwing in another really high ball. He's absolutely looping these. This is lovely to watch. And that one does dip again, and Eunice is not entirely comfortable driving it to mid-off. I understand he may have been just riding around on horses.
He did get a lot of respect for his horse riding prowess, and I haven't seen Eunice on the back of a horse. I'm not sure what his skills in that area are.
As this one's tossed up and being swept hard by Eunice. It's going out behind square. It's going to be met out at the boundary politely by Mitchell Marsh, who says, "Pleased to meet you." And the ball says, "We already met, Mitchell. You bowled an over with me last time around. That's a bit embarrassing. I was wearing the same outfit and everything." As another run is added to Eunice's tally.
We're at Tumwatch tonight because Mitch Marsh in his second game in the baggy green, his butt was within 20 now, isn't he? He's within 20 of that maiden Test century, and that will be the one thing that keep Australian cricket fans interested in this final session, I'd have thought.
He looks like he's going to get there as well. It's just a matter of whether Siddle can stick around with him.
Imran Khan, the man with the tips in the hair, front on action. To that man, Mitch Marsh. It's a French cut, past the leg stump. Anything could have happened there. He's going to pick up one for his trouble on the wayward throw of Zulfikar Barber there at fine leg. The score goes to 257 for 8, a deficit of 313 with Marsh on 83 and Siddle on 28. Imran Khan has bowled very nicely today. That ball to dismiss Michael Clarke, probably the best ball he'll ever bowl in his life.
Absolutely. And there's been a lot of comment that some of the Australian batsmen have played some bad shots. But I think at the end of the day, Imran Khan's going to have to take a lot of credit for bowling some great balls and really set Clarke up with that as well. That Marsh, it could have gone anywhere.
Not a shot that he's going to have on the highlight reel. His front foot was at least 2 feet away from the pitch of the ball. It's not going to go in the Commonwealth Bank Cricket Academy highlights package. It's probably not called that anymore, is it? But it's not going to be only highlight tapes, no matter who sponsors it. Which major bank sponsors the highlight tape these days? We got when we were kids growing up, learning how to play the game. 13 from the 100, traditionally a number which has brought bad luck, although I've been reliably informed that more Australian batsmen have been dismissed on every other number in the 80s, more than 87.
So statistically he's safer now than he was before.
I would say that's safer than he was on 83, contrary to popular belief. It was a nice shot, that one. He really got his foot out to the pitch of the ball, which he hadn't in the first 2 deliveries of this Imran Khan over, his 14th of the innings. He comes to the crease again, wide on it. That's a full toss, and that is a very poor cricket shot. Unfortunately, listeners I'm sorry to report that on 87, Mitch Marsh has thrown it away. That was a rank full toss on leg stump, and he's chipped it up to the man at mid-wicket, and he's dismissed for 87. Australia are now 261 for 9. The follow-on is still a long way away, well over 300 runs to get.
It's supposed to be safe on 87, but no, not Mitch Marsh.
I put the mocker on him, it's fair to say, and he's looking as he walks off the field. He looks to the heavens and thinks what could have been a shin-high full toss, a slower delivery even, and 8 times out of 10 that's going to the boundary rope.
It was there to go, wasn't it? He sort of like he only just decided right towards the end that he was going to have a crack at it.
The Australian fans scattered around there would have been thinking just a few minutes ago they're in for a decent chance of seeing 100. It's been a very poor day's cricket for Australians. It's been a very poor 3 days for Australian fans. They would have thought, here's something to hold on to. I was there the day Mitch Marsh made his first 100 for Australia. And now they're thinking, when can we go home? When are they following on?
It is a little disappointing. But look, I think there's a positive in there for Australian cricket. Mitch Marsh, while it's disappointing he didn't get his 100, it is great that, especially when everyone else is really struggling to make runs, that he's out there enjoying the situation.
Isn't this where you'd expect Darren Lehmann to step in and help? Offer some wise words from the front and say...
As this one's, again, full, just outside off, driven to mid-off, no run.
So, fellas, I've been thinking, because I've spent a lot of time up there surrounded by computers and cameras, not doing much else.
Few stretches, had a pie.
Yeah, had a pie, maybe a crisp Riesling. I've been thinking, and I've decided that it might be a good idea if we try this for an approach. We've been trying this other approach, hasn't worked.
Yep.
Not your fault. That's cool. You've been playing your natural game. Cool, into it. But let's try something else now.
As Mitchell Marsh is bowling a little bit shorter this time and turned away to mid-wicket on the bounce. Sprawling Nathan Lyon there, seizing that ball, stopping it, getting by him. No run.
It's 99 for 3, nearing that 100 milestone, which will mean they only need another 500 runs on top of that, despite losing their captain, their stoic opener, and their number 3, who played a reverse sweep after 7 balls. Well, we're going to go one day. We're going to be in the pub, and we're going to be talking about the day that Glenn Maxwell batted number 3 in a Test match for Australia, when we're chasing 600 and we need to bat 4 sessions, 4.5. So we're going to go. Imagine Michael Clarke's thoughts when he went into the sheds at the end of the third innings in his Test match and said, "Maxie, chuck him on, mate. You're coming in at 3." Mitchell Johnson, who took a wicket with his last delivery of the first over, he'll operate again around the wicket to the new man in Azhar Ali, who shows far more footwork than his predecessor in defending that ball back to Mitchell Johnson for no score. That was quite a quick ball, 146 k's per hour.
So this session promises action, Adam Collins.
Doesn't it?
Pakistan batsmen have come out with a clear mandate to go for it. That's exactly what we're going to see here today, except maybe Yunus. Will he be spooked by history? History looming. Is he going to rein himself in, or will he play the big shots for the team?
Johnson around the wicket again. That ball from Mitchell Johnson has been hit to mid-off and it's a catch. And Mitchell Johnson has dismissed Mohammad Hafiz for one of the more unorthodox cricket shots you'll see. It's a short ball which he's managed to somehow get inside out of. Just made it to Mitchell Starc at mid-off, who diving forward's taken a very good catch. It was an over-the-wicket delivery, and he tried to put it over mid-on.
Forehand smash.
Yeah, that's right. It was a forehand smash, and it's actually gone instead off almost the splice of the bat, the direction he wouldn't have expected, to Mitchell Starc, who's taken a very good diving catch there.
Yeah, tumbling take, but he got to it very low to the ground. And I reckon it wouldn't have been since the first 4 overs of day 1 of the first test that we've called 2 Pakistan wickets in such quick succession. Refreshing to see Mitchell Johnson pick up a couple of cheapies for once in the series, even if it is after the ship has not only sailed but disappeared over the horizon, leaving just a faint smudge of smoke against the sky as the brief memory that it may ever have existed. There was a ship once.
There was a ship. They were 2 for 7 once, Pakistan, in the first test of this.
I remember those days.
That does give them that kind of faint thought that, as you say, if you add on 2 wickets to where they are now, and if they were 4 for 30 or 4 for 40 odd, Australia would, in a weird kind of way, be, I don't want to say back in the game, that's overstating it, but they would be in a better position
They'd be outside the game, but they'd be able to hear the music from inside the game, listening over the fence. But you know what this means? 2 wickets down. You know what time it is? Yunus time. Khan, be the cry. Khan Yunus. See if you can do some stats for us, mate.
Oh, if he does some stats for them today, if he comes correct for us today, if he brings up a 400 in consecutive innings, it'll outdo everything we've done so far in this Test series.
Considering that every Test we've ever called has been an Australian defeat, and a heavy and demoralising one at that.
He has now, in 93 Tests, got 2,700s. Garfield Sobers played 93 Tests for 26. Consider that. Line again, that outside off stump line he seems to have agreed on for Yunus Khan. He's not bowling on the line of the body the way he is to Azhar Ali, so therefore he's not bringing in his bat pad into the game or his legs slip. So they might provide pause for thought for Michael Clarke, who stands at first slip, watching this next line delivery from around the wicket. Again, that's a beautiful delivery. It's held its line. It's probably the first time I've seen Nathan Lyon have a ball hold its line in this series. It's missed the off stump somehow from a ball around the wicket that's pitched off stump. Now it's gone through for a bye. It's missed off stump by a coat of varnish. It's an over spinner. Watching it out of the hand there on the replay, and it's just completely beat a bloke who's made 427 runs in this series. That's no mean feat. This last ball again, it's all happening again. Yunus has almost chopped that ball back onto his off stump. So it's not a bad over here from Lyon. It's none for 5. He's off his 3 overs, but there's 3 opportunities created in the space of 6 balls. That's good cricket.
There's this one. He's striking him on the pad as Yunus goes back, and he's been given out by Steve Smith. He might review it, but it'll be fruitless. He's coming down to beg Azhar Ali to let him review that call, but I think he'll just have to keep walking. That struck him in front of middle. It kept very low from Steve Smith, and Yunus Tunwatch is over. There will be no ton. He is out for 46, which means that he has made 468 runs, I believe, in this series. Steve Smith has been looping them up very high and landing them very full. That time, it kept low. That one, it pitched a little bit shorter, but it didn't bounce greatly. It kept low. It skidded on, and Yunus was on his back foot, on his stumps, trying to whip it away. Missed it completely because of the deceptive bounce. Struck him on the back pad in front of middle and off stumps. He would have been forgiven for giving it a hopeful review, but there was probably no reason to do so. And he comes off to the rapturous applause of the crowd. And Yunus Khan, well played. Really classic Steve Smith bowling, actually. So a bit of a long hop that kept very low and trapped a batsman in front, sort of accidentally for LB. Waist-high full toss smash down the ground for 4. And then a turning, foolish, looped delivery that takes the outside edge and should have been caught at point.
Yeah, he's like one of those nights where there's just too much on. You don't know whether to go to the party, go to the films, go on a date, go for dinner, and you end up doing nothing.
Yep.
And getting out because you're just like, I don't know which
could put this
particular
anywhere.
boundary I want to hit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get LB.
As this one's on the front foot lunge from Azhar Ali, pushed into the covers. There's no run, so they're crowding him. They've got a very close cover. They've got a pretty close point for Azhar Ali, seeing if they can block off his offside play, which has been very strong, but he hasn't looked vulnerable. It's not a word I would use to describe Azhar.
And they're bringing the second new ball on now.
New ball is going to be used by Zulfikar. He's not going to give it to Wazim or Rahid. He's going to, not Wazim rather, Imran rather, or Rahid Ali. Wazim, imagine Wazim.
Not given to Wazim Wakar or Sarfraz Nawaz.
Yeah, and the Rawalpindi Express is not getting it either. It's going to... It's going to stay with that man Zulfikar Barbo, who'll bowl the last ball before the lunch interval with a new ball. You'd
Interesting
assume
they bothered to take it when they're not changing the bowling.
Yeah, they might just fancy doing something slightly different and making Steve Smith think. All you want to do before an interval is make the batsman think. You want to get them in. You want to put them in two minds, and hopefully this will provide pause for thought for Steve Smith.
I was doing some research for an article I've got going up on the Raw either tonight or tomorrow, looking at the 1930 Ashes series, the tour to England.
Right, Ali again. To Smith, who pushes to square leg. Tell us more about this piece.
Now, the Australian team played 2 warm-up games in Tasmania on the way over. Stopped off in Sri Lanka, Ceylon at the time,
yeah.
and had a tour game there, and then played 17 tour games before the first match of the Ashes. Don Bradman had 1,000 first-class runs before he put the pads on to work out for the first game of the Ashes.
That's a stat. That's a stat.
Playing Oxford University, playing Cambridge University, playing seemingly any team that entered in Shire.
Rahat over the wicket to Smith again. That ball's left outside the off stump. That's some very good research on your part. I look forward to devouring that piece.